to tip the Wookiee bartenders 20%. No droids, bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies. I am in my kitchen right now. I think we're expecting snow tonight, and I'm happy for that. I have a dog laying here and probably wondering why I haven't taken him for his walk yet. He'll get a walk later. I've got Christmas stuff to take down, so this may be a short one, depending. Want to talk a little bit about the stuff that Paulie and Tom Konkle were talking about during Paulie's live stream at Latino Slant about the book of Boba Fett. First off, there's a group of fans who I don't think they understand fully of what's going on, and some are filmmakers. Some are very good filmmakers. There's let's talk about Fett. When we first met him during the holiday special, and if there's anybody with a wrench in my chat right now, if they put the holiday specials on YouTube. If you put a link to it, I'd appreciate that so people can refer to it later. Boba Fett had an animated short. People went nuts. This was before we knew who he was. All we knew him was as the bounty hunter. And even after Empire came out, he didn't have a name. And people, I think, fell in love with this enigmatic character. To me, he was nothing. He was just, as I said before, I thought he was a droid. Callous, soulless, lifeless, automaton creature. And I didn't like him, all right? But I'm strictly on the side of the good guys. Now, we get to return. I mean, he has 5 lines in the whole movie, in the entire OT. Just 5 lines. That's it. 5 lines. And yet, people can't get past that part of the character. We get to the prequels and we meet Jango Fett, his father, aka his donor. Boba Fett is literally the first clone. You know, the clones in the Clone Wars, he's the first one of them. He was a literal, untouched duplicate of Jango Fett. Jango Fett, that's what he wanted, that's what he got. So really, Boba Fett is Jango Fett. That's, that's what a clone is. And watching, like, if you go back and watch Attack of the Clones, they're father and son. And Boba grows like a normal human being. He doesn't have accelerated growth. And that was one of the things probably Jango wanted. And it's very interesting to me watching him as a little boy, thinking about Jango's own background. Jango took part in the Mandalorian Civil Wars, assisted one side, and was adopted into the Mandalorian culture, which is where he got the armor, which is where Boba got the armor. Okay, Boba inherited that, and I'm gonna get back to that, okay? Because there's George liked to talk about rhyme and mirroring, which is going on right now in the book of Boba Fett. So we meet Boba as a kid. Then we go to Clone Wars. Clone Wars, he falls in with the bounty hunters, Aura Singh, and Cad Bane, and others. Hey, John 42. I'm trying to explain why I think they're stuck with this OT loner dude. If you watch the Clone Wars, you realize that he was destined to follow his father's footsteps in a way. But he did it out of revenge. He wanted to fight. He wanted to get Mace Windu. He wanted to go after the Jedi. And we meet him as a kid. And it's very interesting to me. This is an angry young man. This is an angry, or was an angry young man. And when we meet him in the EU, well, old redneck nerd, I guess you don't know enough about the character. I don't know what to tell you. We meet him in the EU. He's in the Han Solo trilogy. He basically goes after Han on more than one occasion. Han and Lando outsmart him. See, they've humanized him in the EU. Okay, they humanized him, and people have missed it. People missed it. Okay, this is not a soulless. Well, he's a clone, so there is an ethical argument where he's not a real person. I mean, if you think about it, you know, there's a something to be said for natural creation of life, and there's nothing natural about a clone. All right, so you could look at him like that, but they've taken it a step further from the EU. We have him as a bounty hunter, basically at the end in Rebel Dawn, telling Solo, and this is after he kills one of the Elysian priests, that you know, you better watch your step, Solo, because I'll come after you. Boba Fett had a reputation. The fact that he didn't seem to hang out with the other bounty hunters is the man with no name kind of thing. And Jeremy Bullock even said he took it from that, which is fine. I mean, you know, Star Wars is part Western. What we're getting is that right now in the show. So let's talk about something else here. Rebirth. Is a big deal. Let's talk about The Empire Strikes Back. If you watch Empire Strikes Back, when Han Solo is put into carbonite, he's basically, in a way, dead. Okay? When they show Fett leading this procession of stormtroopers and that repulsor thing with Han on it, it looks like a funeral procession, which is exactly what they wanted. When Han comes back, basically it's reborn. He falls out of the carbonite slab, covered in sweat and goo and everything. He can't see. He's disoriented. This is how a newborn baby is. This is basically being reborn. Okay. We have, in some ways, the same thing going on with Boba Fett. He's mirroring Han Solo. Han was already on his way to being a changed man anyway. He could have hidden from Fett anywhere in the galaxy, and I don't really believe Fett would have ever found him. I think that they would have had to give up, because how big is the galaxy? Where are you going to look? You know, you can look in the usual places. He's not going to go there. All right. A fox is very clever. And so Han, being reborn, it makes that final step to being, I think, the man he wanted to be. When he was a kid, seeing the fighter pilots on Corellia, falling in love with spaceflight, wanting to be a pilot, wanting to go to the academy, and pulling himself up by his own bootstraps to get there. He wasn't just recruited. You know, that's such a a lowball fuck you to the character. It really is. And I'll tell you something. It goes into the leftist view that people are not changeable. There are people that aren't changeable. Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, um, you know, I can name dictators. Okay, I can name, slimy politicians. Nancy Pelosi's not changeable. She's the same conniving bitch she was when I worked on the Hill 20 years ago. Okay, that's who she is. She'll never change. But normal human beings grow throughout the years. They 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 keep their good. They keep their great. Here's the deal. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer. Okay, I had a great voice. I lost it. I got sick. Because I was anorexic, I got the flu. And it almost killed me. I was in the hospital for 3.5 months with pneumonia. I was in a coma. You guys know this story. You guys know it. So that changed what I wanted to do. Okay. But I'm still the same person who wanted to do it. You understand? It changed a lot of things, but it didn't change the fact that I'm a fighter. I don't take shit from anybody, never have, never will, and expect excellence from everybody around me. Okay, and I expect people to use their brain cells. I get frustrated when people are stupid. Okay, and with this Boba Fett thing, it's showing a lot of IQ points that aren't really existent. Okay, Han Solo, it's thrust into the world he wanted to be in, but it wasn't the way he thought it would be when he was a kid. He wanted to be a leader of men. Guess what? He's a general. He wanted to have a family that loved him and respected him, and a wife that loved him and respected him. He's got that. Okay, it just didn't happen the way he expected it, because he had lost not his humanity. He lost his hope. Okay, and being thrust into the world of Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi for a little bit, and then Leia and the Alliance, whether he wanted it or not, he started believing again. Okay, let's look at Boba Fett. Boba Fett is trying to fight Luke Skywalker. I'm gonna tell you this. In my opinion, in a fight, Luke would have beat him. Luke would have killed him. In a gunfight, Han would have killed him. And the reason is this. Boba is 10 years older than Han. Or older. Okay? We don't know. He was like, what, 10, 12 years old when we meet, when Obi-Wan lands on Camino. Okay? So if Han is in his early 30s, late 20s when we meet him, Boba Fett is in his 40s. He's already after his prime. Now, granted, he's still a badass. He can still kick ass, 99% of the time. But as any fighter, there's always going to be someone better. Okay, always. You have to remember that. And Fett, if you look at Clone Wars, never really got a chance to fight a Jedi. He wanted to, but he didn't. Okay. And you've got a young Jedi coming into his own. Okay. And Han Solo at his best is probably the fastest draw in the galaxy. I mean, that is there. So I think Fett would have had a very hard time with them at his age. All right. So he falls into the pit after Han accidentally hits the jetpack. Now, the arguments, because people don't remember these things, why didn't he just use a jetpack like in the EU? The jetpack was broken. Duh. Duh. Jetpack didn't work. Duh. Remember? Did you see the movie? Han broke it. So he uses the flamethrowers on his wrists. How he got up through the sand, I don't know. Maybe it really wasn't. If you think about the Sarlacc, where how big really is that thing? We have a huge wide pit. The opening, the mouth is right there, but how big is it? You got to think about that. Okay, you got to think about how big that thing is. You got to suspend what you see and give yourself a chance to imagine it, what could be under there. So he comes up through the sand, okay? The rebirthing part, coming up through the sand. That's a big deal. How long was he in there before he woke up? How long did it take him to get out? Okay, I have bad claustrophobia. I cannot do an MRI in a closed tube. They have to put me in, and they don't want to put you in feet first. So you can actually look above you. They have to check you down, your torso, but they'd rather have you completely submerged in it. And nothing makes me freak out quicker than being in some place where I can't. You feel like you're suffocating and can't get out, and it's just psychologically. And I was never like that before I got sick, but I've been like it ever since. And people say, well, you got to get over it, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to get over it. So, yeah, but at the time, John, it wasn't working because that was the flashbacks are ROTJ period. Okay, so we don't know how long he was in there. Claustrophobia, these emotional issues. Just because he's a clone doesn't mean he's not going to have psychological issues of being stuck in there, and physical issues of being stuck in there with the acid and all the rest of that crap. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting to. So the Fett we know died the moment the Sarlacc got him. The Fett coming out of the Sarlacc is a different person. He doesn't know it yet. It's going to take some time. But hey Rod, how you doing? Rod Thunderheart. Anyway, so he gets robbed by the Jawas, which, I mean, look, if you've ever been in the desert, the high desert in Wyoming or Arizona or Death Valley, and you see smoke on the horizon, you can see tons of stuff. Just everywhere you go. And it is highly likely that the Jawas and their sandcrawler were probably, well, they probably weren't the same Jawas because that sandcrawler got abused by the stormtroopers. They're in their sandcrawler, they see the fight on the sail barge from a long ways away. And no, it didn't. I didn't delete anything. Unless somebody else did. Don't delete Echo Base's comments, please. I really want them to listen to me here. And go back and watch what Tom Konkle had to say. Because he was right. Okay, so they see the fight going on. They see the smoke. When they finally get there, the smoke is dissipated. Everything is gone. There's nothing left but a Hulk. and Boba Fett's laying there in his armor. They take the armor and they leave. Okay. Then the Sand People show up. Now this is where the whining and the bitching and the moaning starts. It's just like Dances with Wolves. No, it's not like Dances with Wolves. It's not. Okay. And I'm going to tell you something. There are only 5 stories out there. Okay. And the only thing that makes something unique is the way you tell it. This is a unique story. Okay, if that comment got deleted, I don't know who did it. And who did it say who did it? Drop it again. Let me see. See, I don't wear my glasses all the time because I hate them. They like make me look like an owl. So anyway, while I'm talking, I can't see it. I can't see the comment. Okay, then I don't, then it, maybe it didn't take. Okay. Anyway, so what you've got here is probably a brand new person. I don't, he's not the Boba Fett we know because of the physical injuries. And he's dehydrated, he's starving, and he's being dragged into this native culture. This is a story that has been told over and over again for millennia, okay? It is there are archetypes in human culture, all across spans of human culture. And this is one of them. The outsider being brought, well, he wasn't, in Dances with Wolves, he wasn't hurt, and he wasn't held prisoner. He just kind of joined. A Man Called Horse, I'm thinking about, Richard Harris. And the Boba Fett we knew, the quiet, robotic bounty hunter, it wasn't an alpha. I think he was a pussy. All right. People like that are not strong people. All right. A strong alpha is someone who it takes action when he has to. You look at, all right, Mel Gibson in Braveheart. All right. You look at Harrison Ford in Patriot Games. All right. Witness. Okay. The alpha archetype is not a murderous, action-oriented prick. He will take action. I mean, Mel Gibson in The Patriot. He, when he was a young man, was a ruthless soldier and killed a lot of people. He comes back, he gets married, he has a farm. Then the Revolutionary War starts. And he has to make a choice. So he follows his oldest son into, basically he becomes a leader of the militia in North Carolina, and then the shit hits the fan. And he does it because of what they did to his second oldest son, and they burned his farm. That's what dragged him into running the militia in North Carolina. That is a theme in a lot of Westerns. The regular dude who has a past, was that movie, Unforgiven? Will Money, Clint Eastwood, all right? So you have this guy who's wounded and hurt, who's used to be this callous, cold-hearted punk, okay, for whatever. And only intimidating because he's really doesn't have a soul, okay? And he slowly evolves as he becomes closer to the people that have captured him into this other person. Right? This is a reborn Fett. The flashbacks, especially when he goes to the tree, and he comes back with that is Native American on steroids. Let me tell you a story. When Crazy Horse, his name was Curly when he was a baby, when he was a kid. Okay, South Carolina, I'm sorry. And they fought North Carolina too, though. Okay? Curly, but thanks for also stopping me in my train of thought. When he was, 12, 13, 14 years old, Crazy Horse, he had to go on a vision quest. So all he had was water, and he went wandering out. Eventually, he gets so exhausted and fatigued and completely out of it, he has a vision of a horse dancing around crazily, rearing and doing what they do. And he took the name Crazy Horse. That's how young Lakota warriors got their names. Okay, so the tree sequence is basically a whole rebirth. You see Camino, you see young Boba seeing Django leaving, which sets the idea of the lone, very lonely kid, okay, who just by, I think, circumstance had to become a bounty hunter to survive and also to honor his father. What is interesting now, because I'm going to go back to Jango Fett, is that, again, Jango Fett assisted in the Mandalorian Civil War and was adopted into their culture and given armor. Boba is adopted into Tusken culture and given the robes of a Tusken warrior, which he has not removed. Okay, there's a mirroring there, which I think is quite lovely and elegant when I think about it. And they make him his gaffy stick. Okay, when a young Native American warrior would go out and choose heartwood for his bow and would take it to the bow maker and they would make it together, which is exactly what we saw. And the complaints were, well, it's too Native American, well, again, there are 5 stories. And the action sequences made sense. Like when Boba sees that gang of swoop bike gang go to Tashi Station, and they're starting to beat up Fixer, and he walks in, and they're all dead. He killed them all. That's the Boba Fett you guys want. But he used his ruthlessness and his skills in a different way this time. He wasn't hunting a criminal. I mean, let me tell you something. In the Old West, the bounty hunters were criminals lots of times. Let me explain. With Wyatt Earp, it depended on what day it was, okay, and where he was. Dodge City, he was a deputy under Bat Masterson. And I think he actually got arrested for stealing horses in Missouri. He goes to Arizona, looks into a silver mine, and starts basically being part owner, I guess, of a saloon. His brother ends up being the town marshal, or the town sheriff, town marshal. And, the Theorps get themselves involved with gambling and the brothels. There's a reason why in Tombstone, the movie, why Ike Clanton calls them pimps. That's what they were. All right. So when you look at a Western hero, you got to be very careful. What day is it? Okay. Where is he and what day is it? During Wyatt Earp's revenge ride after Morgan's death, he deputized Doc Holliday. Doc Holliday was a criminal on steroids, okay? But yet there we are, and he's a good, I'm glad. Doc Holliday is, thank you, Ben, is not a good man, okay? You read his background, he contracted tuberculosis, left Georgia, ended up in Arizona, and he befriended the Earps, and the shit hit the fan. Okay, and there's lots of there's lots of stories surrounding him, mythological stories, but the what I'm talking about is even Boba Fett doing the right thing at Tashi Station and helping his new Tuscan family, teaching them how to defeat the train with the Pikes. The Pikes show up. So we got Cammy and Fixer, then we got the Pikes. Okay, EU to the max. And it's really interesting because he's not a good guy. He's not. So the way people who are complaining about this, they're not seeing this the way they should. Just because he helped Tashi Station, that bar there, and just because he's helping the Sand People doesn't mean he's a good guy. He still wants to be a crime lord. The real change is if you want to look at how characters change and coming into who they are, is Han Solo. Han Solo gives up that life. A life that he was forced into by the Empire. Basically, kicking him out and court-martialing him for saving Chewie. Again, I don't consider Solo a Star Wars story to be the Han Solo origin story. It's like fan fiction for assholes. Okay. The story that they should have told was showing Han pull himself up by his bootstraps. Saying things like, wasn't there a story, maybe this is just me making it up, but he saw families, he wanted that. He wanted that respect. And he wanted to be a pilot, all right? Those things really meant something to him. And he got himself, after, years of abuse as an indentured servant to Garrett Strike, he got himself to the point where he could go to the academy. He took the test, aced it, because he was self-taught. Again, being pulled up by your own bootstraps is a story that they should be telling everywhere. All right, but it's not, oh yeah, I do too, John. I do too. So again, this isn't a bad guy. This is a guy thrust into a place in his life that he's used to, that he likes the adventure. He likes, pirating and smuggling and making money. He likes the attention of all the girls. And he had forgotten who he wanted to be. And the reason why he was so doubtful of Obi-Wan and Luke and Leia and the Alliance is because they reminded him of that little boy, begging on the streets of Coruscant Corellia in Cornet City, seeing what was possible, okay? And having those dreams. And having it all, I mean, I'll tell you, uh, it takes a strong person to get past traumatic experiences. It really, really does. And to come out better than they were, and to rekindle that optimistic person they used to be. All right. When I look at Fett, I look at him as he wants to be a crime lord, so he's not a good guy. And he's not really even an anti-hero, okay? He's still going to be running brothels, running spice, gambling halls, loan sharking, all the stuff a criminal does. Rackets. You know what the rackets are, right? Nice little bar you got here. Hate to see something happen to it. Where's my money? Paying for protection. All right. And it's very interesting to me seeing this and watching it happen and thinking he's not a good guy. I'm sorry, but Vito Corleone might be a good guy, but he's not a good guy. Okay? If you've ever seen a good movie, A Bronx Tale is something you should see. Because the capo, Sonny, played by Chaz Palminteri, whom I love. Oh, he's such a great actor and such a cool dude. He has a line basically saying, you think this is all glamorous? It's not. The guys that work hard and pay their bills and take care of their families, they're the heroes. And he says that to this kid. Okay, Boba Fett isn't a hero here. Just because he went into that bar and saved Cammy and Fixer. The reason why all this is going on is because he sees the power vacuum left by Jabba. You know, the power vacuum left by Jabba, okay? And he sees people that are being treated unfairly, but this doesn't make him a hero, all right? He sees opportunity. Doing the right thing in this instance is more opportunistic, okay? It is not, oh, what they're doing is wrong, la, la, la. No. Letting the moisture farmers alone, letting them earn money, and letting them pay their tax to him or to the crime lord is probably the what is motivating him. As far as pacing, what are we, a bunch of goldfish? You have an attention span of 5 seconds? What do you want? We've got 6 more episodes, okay? And you've got a lot more coming on here. Well, I honestly think that Bill Robb is onto something. Teaching the Tuscans how to use technology. Having a group behind him that is not being counted on. Okay? And you gotta remember, somewhere in this is the New Republic. Now, the theory I have, and I think I'm right, it goes back to Mando. Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is about the time that Thrawn is starting to appear on people's radar. And the New Republic, it's the Outer Rim, may end up having to flex some muscle in this instance too. I fully expect to see in the last episode Solo either show up on Tatooine Nah, Geeks Are Us. The people who think it's trash are trash because they're not giving it a chance. And don't come on here saying something that's stupid without anything to back it up. At least old redneck nerd had a point, and it's pacing. All right, and I can see some people wanting to see more action, but again, this is not the Boba Fett that we had in the OT. And oh, by the way, that Boba Fett was a nobody. All right? 5 lines. No face, no personality. Wow. I'm impressed. Okay? Again, when I first saw him, I thought he was a droid. I thought he was a robot. And the way he behaved was pretty robotic. Okay? Nothing cool about the character. All right? In fact, I've always wanted to see Han Solo shoot him in a gunfight. And like I said, because of where Fett was in his life during Return of the Jedi, I don't think he would have survived a fight with either Luke or Han. You know, this is a different Fett. Okay, this is going to take some people to get used to, and obviously a lot of them aren't, because they can't get past the robot. They can't get past the lack of personality, the lack of, cripes. Even Ted Bundy had a personality, for crying out loud. And it's like, well, he's doing, again, the Django, mirroring with Django makes a lot of sense, but he's going past that with this, I wanna take over the Tatooine. There's a power vacuum. Obviously, Bib Fortuna was very bad at being the daimyo. And it appears to me that when Fortuna was killed and Fett thought, I've got it, I think it knows exactly what it wants to be. I don't know what you're complaining about. Again, it is it is a show about rebirth. Okay. I got A's in a class called The History of Film and Lit. All right. And people don't know how to watch movies or TV shows again anymore. They don't. You sit down, you have a 3-act play, and this is not really in that convenience of a 3-act play. This is an ongoing thing going on. Well, Geeks R Us is just a crybaby, and he probably didn't graduate high school. He probably doesn't have much of an attention span. He probably would fall asleep at Hamlet. They don't make movies. What's wrong with the flashbacks? Here's the deal about the flashbacks. God, I'm so sick of people bitching and moaning. This is explaining why he wants to do this. And we're starting to see why. Okay? We're starting to see why. I also think we're going to find out somehow that he's going to find out he got screwed over. Okay? Because in one of the trailers, he says, I was left on the sand of Tatooine to die. I don't know who he's talking to. Maybe he's talking to the mayor. Maybe he's talking to the Trandoshan, who's hilariously named Strachey, and what's really interesting is that that's a throwback to one of the 5 families in The Godfather and the Stracheys. You know, so I think he's going to find out. Yeah, I think we're going to find out that something happens to his Tuscan family, to that tribe, and he's going to be extremely pissed off. And I think that's what does it. It's not. It's basically he wants to run the spice. He wants to run those brothels. He wants the money. He wants the gambling money. He wants the strong arm loan shark money. He wants the racket money. Here's the deal. When you see him go into the sanctuary the first time and his helmet is filled with Republic credits, that's protection money. All right, that's a racket. All right, that's what that is. And it's an interesting mix of the Western and the Godfather. And as we move forward, we're going to see more and more, I think, of his dealings in the present. But there were so many great that dreaming sequence. Yeah, I think he. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's power. I think being a gun for hire is romantic to some people. However, there's no power in it. All right. If you're not hired, you don't have any power. All right. Just it is what it is. But if you have power, you can hire people to do that stuff. I wish. Well, we don't know where Rhoda is. I mean, maybe there's going to be a fight between Rhoda and those two, too. Okay? We don't know where he is. Now, I think in Disney canon, and someone can correct me, but yeah, if you do it right. Those who have great power also have great responsibility, right? So, here's the deal. I think it's Disney canon, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Oh yeah, you're right, Andrew. Apparently, I think it was in the recent comics, Vader destroyed the Hutt cartels. So those 2 Hutts showing up, that's a big deal because that changes what the books are saying. Okay, that basically runs against the story group, all right? That was a big deal. To me, seeing those 2, I was like, okay, this is different. This is better. Because in the EU, the Hutts were still there. Jabba was dead, but the Hutts were still there. And I don't see the point of the Emperor and Vader getting rid of them. what they've done with Vader in these books is turn him into some sort of romantic anti-hero. And he wasn't, all right? Why would the Emperor, who used the Hutts and used their access to illicit things, and his government did, and the people that worked with him did, why? Oh, I think they know, John. I think they know. I'll explain that in a little bit. Why would he allow Vader to do that? See, this is the problem I have, right? Vader would not do that. There's lots of deals to be made, okay? Lots of them with this cartel. And it's better government. It's better politics and policy to make political allies with these guys. The U.S. government did that with Augusto Pinochet and others. I mean, in Francisco Franco. Okay, it makes sense. It's pragmatic. Yeah, exactly. So seeing two Hutts, not just one, show up was a big fucking deal. The sequel trilogy is already being retconned. Okay, if you could go to any of the bigger channels where they all get together and scream about how much they hate Kennedy, even though they don't know what a fucking placeholder is. She has absolutely no power, but because they're too fucking stupid to understand that, they see her name. Duh! I'm sick of hearing about it. All right? There's nothing of Kennedy in this. So please, stop it. And yes, the sequel trilogy is going away. Do I have to explain this in crayon for people? Because I will. All right? No, I didn't watch Game of Thrones, though. I absolutely cannot stand Emilia Clarke. She looks like a mouse and a rat. Scrawny, not very attractive. Just, there's nothing there. And just, I don't watch things with annoying people. And she annoys me. All right? I want to give her a hamburger. Here's a cheeseburger. And a pound of fries. Eat all of it. Yes, it is being erased. Okay, I'm sick and tired of hearing this. I don't care what you think. All right? The moment Luke showed up, it was erased. Okay? The moment Ahsoka showed up, it was erased. Okay? If you don't want it to be erased, if you want to bitch and moan, fine. This is not the place for it. They're being erased. And what I mean by being erased is the veil of the Force is going to happen. And Luke is going to go in there probably and kill the Emperor or something like that. Okay? That's what they mean by being erased. Well, I forgot my point, what I was saying before, because people need attention instead of listening. Mando also sets up Thrawn. Duh! Did you see the Ahsoka thing? Do you see the problem here? How does the first... Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm talking... My dog would understand this. He's a shepherd, and has a higher IQ than most people. My horse would understand this. She's a thoroughbred and has a higher IQ than most people. They get this. You've got Grand Admiral Thrawn, a warlord. You've got Moff Gideon, who is, at the end of Mando, is, well, obviously we have a prequel hater here too, which is about as annoying as it gets. Okay, let it go. Let it fucking go. You're going to have the New Republic stuck between them. So if you think the First Order is going to now suddenly show up when they've got Moff Gideon, the cloning stuff, everything he knows, they've got all of his testing, and they've got Grogu, who I'm sure is going to yap to Luke, you've got to be a fucking moron, okay? That's what just happened. Then we've got Grand Admiral Thrawn. Okay, do you think that he's going to go along with that? Do you think that he's going to say, we've got, I mean, when you read Heir to the Empire and you see how Thrawn actually kind of looked at No, you're not listening to me. Please stop posting. Let me finish what I'm saying. I bet you didn't even read. I bet you CJH has never even read Heir to the Empire. Anybody want to bet? Grand Admiral Thrawn is sitting there in his command, thinking about the Battle of Endor, and thinking about how poorly it was run, and realizing at the time the Emperor was dead, okay? Not coming back. And hilariously blaming Vader, who was killing the Emperor. He did not know that. Grand Admiral Thrawn is a very pragmatic character. And if he finds out that they've got these half-ass clones, and the Emperor's hopping from one to the other, but it's not him, he's going to say, no, it doesn't work for me. I can do this myself. Okay? And you've got very ambitious men on both sides. Moff Gideon, who I don't think will get away. Maybe somehow the New Republic will let him escape. No, it's over, CJH. Please stop it. Okay? You're trying to change people's minds, and it's not working, and you're pissing me off. You're not listening. So you're going to have three powers. You're going to have Grand Admiral Thrawn and the Empire. You're going to have Moff Gideon and whatever that goes, if he gets away. You're going to have the Alliance. What I think is going to happen is that the Alliance and Thrawn are going to have to fight Gideon. I think they're going to end up treating and then having it out with Gideon. Because in the scheme of things, the New Republic is not strong enough and not well thought of enough to govern the galaxy. And I can see a split. Because that's what happened in the EU. Okay? I can see Thrawn doing that. Will you stop it? It's over. Okay? You can sit there and say there's references, but they're not really references. Okay? Just please, for the love of God, stop it. Or go, I don't know, to whatever bigger channel and bitch about it, okay? Yes, which is, if they go into the Veil of the Force and kill the Emperor, it's over. There's no First Order. If they go into the cloning facilities and kill all the clones, it's over. Yeah, because he knew he was going to have to fix it. I mean, and that, it's not like he doesn't talk to George. There's another bitch about him not talking to George. They talk every day. Okay. George thinks of him as another son. All right. So the idea that he's going against Lucas is ridiculous. Okay. Just what? I don't get it. I don't get what people want. That's just me. I know what I want. I want good Star Wars. I want to see the characters that should have been in these sequels, in the sequels. Okay? I want to see Han, Leia, and Luke respected with their heroism and their character development intact. No, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about everybody in general. Okay? This is my problem. All right? They're doing a good job, whether you agree with it or not, they are. And they're presenting a better story. But if they're not supported, Disney torpedoes what they're doing, and then what do we got? Okay, the only people at Lucasfilm right now that give a shit about Star Wars are Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Okay? Do you want more bake-offs? Do you want Kennedy's stuff to go on forever? You've got to understand that we have to support what Favreau and Filoni are doing. Okay? And it wasn't Disney that fired, she wasn't fired. Gina, it was Kathleen Kennedy. Okay? Disney is a venerable American brand. All right? There are hundreds of thousands of people that work for them. They are in financial straits. They are trying to fix it. Okay? However, if you don't support what's good, how are they going to know what they're doing is good or not? You understand? That's my problem. And another thing, Gina, Troy brought this up. I don't know if she was still under contract or is violating a new contract that they were getting ready to negotiate. But Disney puts it out very specifically. There are things you can and can't say. It's in morals clauses. I think she knew it was coming. I don't think she cared. All right? I think she was going to go out and do whatever she wanted and get herself canned. And what bothers me is that it hurt John and Dave. That's what bothers me. It was disloyal. Okay, granted, she was treated like shit, right? The Tuscan in the black, that was a woman. They should just cast her as Cara Dune and forget it. Because I've said this before, I'll say this again. If I find out, after all this is said and done, and we find out that Kennedy hasn't been at Lucasfilm, we find out that Cameron is right, and I do think he is right, that she's been doing nothing but, collecting a check, and that John and Dave assured Gina she'd be okay, and that she wouldn't be bothered anymore. Find out that she told them to screw off. I am done with her. Okay? I am done with her. I am done. First off, I don't like celebrities talking politics anyway. I don't care if they're on my side, and she is. But I would have told her, if I was her manager, shut the fuck up. Okay? It is not like she's part of the club yet. Okay? You keep your head down, you do your job, and as you get more popular and more popular and more popular, then you can start branching out and saying things. Okay? Granted, Pedro Pascal got away with a lot of shit. He should have been censored for it. Okay? He should have been forced to apologize. All right? He should have. Others have said stuff. You know, I'm like, I agree with you on that one, man. You know, and I'm like looking at this going, I think part of the reason why some people want to hate Disney and want to hate the show is because of what happened to her. I remember very well when she got publicly humiliated. You know, Ichibaka went away. Stopped writing his thing. Just picked up his toys and left. Over an actress playing a role that, when you look at the expanse of Star Wars, is about that big. Granted, at the time, it was after, you know, what happened on Capitol Hill. That, in fact, it's the 1-year anniversary. It was after Luke showed up, and, you know, we were riding high because it appeared that, you know, Pablo Hidalgo got bitch slapped hard. I really think it was mean-spirited on Kennedy, but I also think when John fired the showrunner for Obi-Wan and hired Deborah Chow, that was Kennedy's boy that he fired. She went after Gina, but Gina didn't see it that way. I don't know. I haven't talked to him, and if he didn't, that's fine. I don't care. I got more out of what Tom Konkle had to say yesterday, and it was really a lot more intelligent and a lot more depth to it than what a lot of people who didn't like it are saying. And they're not seeing it the way they need to. All right. But I was just blown away with it. I literally was just, you know, I don't get what the bitching is about. I don't understand. I mean, it's like, I take it personally because I see bad stuff coming down the road from the Kennedy camp. Okay. They're not gone yet, and they won't be gone until she's gone officially. All right. Again, she's a figurehead. She doesn't do anything at Lucasfilm anymore. All she's got is Indiana Jones 5. They're back to filming. I don't even think Harrison is back in London for it. The last picture I saw of him, and maybe somebody can do some digging, he was riding his bike through Malibu. Right? Well, it's going to be interesting. Cameron loved it. Cameron was like, "You're right. This is great. Now I'm hooked." Again, stop looking at Boba Fett. Stop calling him Beta Fett. He's not a good guy here. He's seeing an opportunity, but there's something else we haven't gotten to see. We're starting to see a little motivation, but not enough to go the whole way. Yeah, I think Bill is right there. I mean, you know, I really think that this this Gina Carano thing has really hurt their good work. And I think a lot of really bad misinformation from, I'm not going to say the group, the group, but of channels, and it's not Echo Base, it's not Midnight's Edge. Fair-minded is fair-minded. These guys are not fair-minded. And they put a lot of misinformation out there, all right? And they do talk about this, all right? They do think look, if you could walk out of TLJ and think it was a good movie, and you sit down at your computer, and you suddenly realize everybody on YouTube hated it, and all of a sudden, bingo, I should hate it too, so I can grow my channel. That's phony AF. Okay, that's phony AF, and you guys know who I'm talking about. That whole, okay, they don't care. It's all about making money, and it's all about keeping the rage. And oh, by the way, the moment Kennedy's gone, and she will eventually go, officially, they won't have anything to scream about. My channel was built to help save Star Wars. I don't care if Kennedy's there or not, as long as it's good Star Wars. I don't care as long as she doesn't have any power. It was also there to go after her, but it's going to survive her and the SJWs there long after they're gone. And the reason why is this: ultimately, it's about good stuff, and it's about having good stuff to talk about. And the rage that I've seen, and I'm like, what does that accomplish? You're giving people, your subscribers, the wrong information. You're not giving them everything. What? Remember when that drama went down, Doomcock? Do you know how pissed off I was? That was it. I was done. Low class, low brow, no filter, and stupid. Okay? Stupid. And there are other people, using their connections to certain actors and actresses to bolster like they've got a connection. It's like, I have seen that shit go down before. I used to help with the Gerard Butler I used to help with the Gerard Butler fan site, and I actually met him. He's an idiot. He's not, a good-looking beefcake, and that's about it. He's nothing to write home about. And we discovered that he was being screwed over and we wrote to his manager, and a lot of stuff went down, but guess what? We got screwed over too. Okay. Don't make friends with celebrities. Okay. Just like don't make friends. Don't. All right. And the reason is it always turns out bad, because when they don't need you, they don't need you. Okay. And it's all about, if you ask anybody in the movie business, it's all about being used and being used and being used. Okay. That's it. Everybody uses each other and in Hollywood, and that's the truth. But we really need to support this show. We really need to support John and Dave, and we need to give it a chance. And the people complaining need to understand that they're hurting the opportunity to fix what was broken. Okay. It's really good that Star Wars Theory likes it. Okay, because he drowns out a lot of the naysayers. But he's also a guy that likes everything. So I'm like, I don't really like everything, but okay. Yeah, and Troy's right. If we don't support good Star Wars, we won't get any. And this is good stuff. It's a long, slow burn. And I like that. Yeah, none. We won't get any. Period. They'll stop it. It'll end up being shorts like the Muppets are. Or if Disney can't get itself out of the trouble it's in, it'll end up getting sold. Why not? They can still keep the parks. Well, this thing about Boba Fett, and I'm gonna have to go because I've got stuff I've got to do. You gotta look at it this way. They wanted to make it a movie. And after Solo crashed and burned, deservedly so, they gave it to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they ran with it. So the people who wanted a Boba Fett story got one. But they don't understand how stories built and how characters develop. We bitched and moaned about Han Solo regressing, Leia regressing, and then getting demoted, right? We bitched and moaned about what they did to Luke. We're seeing a progression in Fett's character, in a reborn Fett, as it were, and we're complaining about that. Again, this is where I go, what do you want? You have your Boba Fett show. Enjoy it. Okay? This is fun. It's great to wake up on Wednesday mornings with a couple of cups of coffee and down them while I'm eating my breakfast and watching it. And then being able to joyously proclaim. There's not a lot of fun things to look forward to anymore. All right? As good as, Darth Angelus, Heir to the Empire animated series is, it's not, gonna have it. They're too short anyway. But it's not got me jumping around, waiting impatiently. The animation is okay. He's won awards. But still, it's nothing. I want to have something in this world to look forward to. All right? And again, there isn't a whole lot right now. The economy's crappy, inflation's going nuts. I saw somebody with a 3-pound. Oh, you can be greedy. That's a good thing with this. I saw somebody with a 3-pound prime rib ahead of me at Wegmans before Christmas, and it cost $75. Okay. I last year that would have been $40. Now I could get that at Giant with my card for $40. Okay. But still, gas. We've got a president who is an Alzheimer's patient. Christmas was fun, but it wasn't what it could have been. It should have been. Okay. We've got this to look forward to. And in a world that is not fun right now, in lots of ways, that's why I stay away from politics. It doesn't do any, that shit doesn't do any favors for my blood pressure. Having Star Wars to look forward to, good stuff, helps. Now, want to address the High Republic. We've got a bake sale. When Nick posted that on Echo Base, and I was laughing so hard I couldn't stop. That's it. That's what they have. They're threatening us now with phase 2 of the High Republic. Who fucking gives a shit? Again, but as Cameron said, there's a lot of crap in the pipeline that can't be stopped. Okay? And Disney, from a business perspective, is like, well, maybe we can get some money back. So you can't really blame them for allowing this to go on, especially if these books have already been written, contract signed, la-di-da. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, the last book that was actually out there published before, Claudia Fat Pig Gray's latest was a Walmart exclusive, which makes it impossible for people who don't have Walmart to get unless they order it. I'm going to buy it for kindling. I mean, if someone sent me a High Republic book, I would be out at my fire pit so fast it would spin your head. I mean, I would take a video of it. I did that. Was that Dave Pensack sent me the Pablo Hidalgo's. Yeah, that was trailer. That was on. Well, you saw it. Nick posted it on Echo Base, and I was like, really, guys? Really? Oh, and it came with the recipe. I'm like, wow, just in time for Christmas. Wow. But that's the extent. They don't care. And I really think they're so they've been so beaten down by I think what's going on inside Lucasfilm that they're just going through the motions. I mean, I was gonna say this. Matt Martin last year said there's no such thing as canon anymore. Think about that. All right. And as far as mentioning channels, I'm not talking about my friends. The people I talk about are people I don't have anything to do with. Again, the moment that drama with Doomcock started, I was done. And sadly, he doesn't really talk about Star Wars anymore. But I also think he knows that Kennedy's on her way out. All right. And and there's a lot about rumors and stuff that come out that you got to be real careful, and he's smart about doing that. He's smart about the way he does it. And, he was getting shot at by people who know better. And I think the thing that bothered me so much is that people who know him were not defending him and letting that little pasty-faced turd ball go on like Jim Baker on acid. Okay? It's like, or on speed. I mean, I'm like, again, loyalty is everything. Loyalty is everything. If you're not loyal all the time, and you're only loyal to for your own, then you're a piece of shit. All right. And I think through all this, well, they don't care. I mean, they have their excuses about where he heard this and where he heard that. But again, if you're friends with somebody and somebody badmouths that person and you don't do anything and everything is taken in private, fine. But you owe that person a public acknowledgement too. All right? That's the thing. That pissed me off. Oh, I love that. Grumble pie. I love that. Anyway, I gotta go. If people think I'm mad at them, I'm disappointed, I think. because they're not seeing something really beautiful and unique here, and I don't know what they want. Um, and for the people who are just saying, this is trash, you're, I don't know what you want. It's not trash. You're probably a Marvel Endgame fan where it's nothing but giant explosions and action going on with no story. Okay, which is Marvel. Okay, I'm sorry, that's Marvel. And maybe some people want that. I am. I'm disappointed. Um, because this is turning out to be a really beautiful story. And you gotta look at Boba Fett not being a good guy, being an opportunist, because he's always been an opportunist. That's what a hunter is. I am one, I know that. If a big buck walks out and I've got my tag and I got my rifle and I see him and he's 100 yards away, I'm taking that opportunity. All right, that's what a hunter does. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm losing my voice and I've got to start taking apart the library in earnest. So I'll see you guys around the galaxy and behave and be well. And to Nick and Coach, I'm not mad at you guys. All right. I just wish you'd see what we're seeing. All right. I'll see you guys later. I'm out.